Hey folks, my name is Wanix, and this is a retelling of the film called The Ball of Mad Women. Appreciate watching, coincidentally. Put a like under this video. It helps in advancement. Much obliged to you. Ladies were constrained into ice water that was 20 degrees under 0 Celsius, while totally bare. The water was crisp to the point that the lady shuddered. It's difficult to accept that a long time back, this was the norm of care for mental patients. Hydrotherapy is the name of this methodology in this psychological clinic for ladies, as it were. There are significantly more controls like this. However long they didn't pay attention to the specialists, they were treated as an ailment and exposed to a wide range of brutal medicines the patients needed to persevere until that day. The psychological emergency clinic has another patient, Eugenie. Eugenie was conceived of blue blood, yet she, because shipped off the refuge, was on the grounds that she could hear and see the dead. So she was shipped off a psychological foundation by her ordinary guardians. After she was confessed to the emergency clinic, Eugenie was stripped exposed and compelled to go through a full-body assessment in the wake of ensuring she was liberated from any sickness. Eugenie was taken into the residence under the careful focus of 3 parental figures. Luckily, Eugenie is profoundly versatile. She before long adjusted to life here. After a time of cautious perception, she saw that as the majority of the patients kept here were ordinary individuals with no illnesses, the greater part of them had been shipped off the shelter by their spouses or other relatives because of multiple factors. Others were tracked down en route to get away and compelled to be removed and treated over the long haul in the refuge of unending torment techniques. They likewise leisurely become crazy. Furthermore, the reason for this psychological clinic is to regard patients as debilitated when they come in, not entirely set in stone to get away. In the event that she doesn't leave, she could really go crazy. Presently, the main way for her to leave was to demonstrate that she truly could hear and see the dead, not that she was insane. So Eugenie went to Genevieve, the head nurture. She started by referencing Genevieve's dead sister to persuade Genevieve. Eugenie likewise precisely depicted her sister's actual elements. Indeed, even the little pigmentation on her body is precise. However, Genevieve simply thinks Eugenie set to know her sister up to move away. She couldn't have cared less. Nonetheless, she determined from Eugenie's words that Eugenie was not a mental case. She went to the going to specialist and requested that he set up for Eugenie to be conveyed. However, the specialist in control needed to keep Eugenie on the grounds that she was delightful. He continued to condition. Eugenie, anybody who can see apparitions isn't crazy. Eugenie immediately answered. Recently, a young lady said she could see God. You don't scrutinize her. For what reason am I crazy? Since I can see apparitions. The going to doctor was angry. He promptly requested Genevieve to organize week-by-week spa medicines for Eugenie. In any case, Eugenie is extreme. She recuperated rapidly. Back in the residence, Louise, who was in the bed close to Eugenie, compassionately warmed her with her body. In any case, the following day she was effectively taken to perform for the rich. Louise was entranced under the trance specialist order. She gradually lifted her hands from her gut to her lips. Her demeanor made the Honorable's presence gaze. However, the following second, as though animated, Louise bombed to the ground. Her body was rolling wildly from one side to another. Her appendages started to fit. This scene promptly excited the interest of the aristocrats. They generally rose to watch in their eyes. Louise was only a comedian for diversion. What they didn't know was that Louise was having a seizure in view of the trance specialist. In the interim, Eugenie finds Genevieve once more. To get away from the refuge, Eugenie permits Genevieve to converse with her sister. Yet in return, Eugenie would help her leave Genevieve missing. Her sister concurred, decisively. They came to an unfilled room. Before long, Eugenie was diverting. She put her head in her grasp and felt the apparition in the room. Time is ticking ceaselessly. I don't have the foggiest idea what amount of time it required for Eugenie to utter a sound. Similarly, as Genevieve's understanding was running out, Eugenie's body started to battle. Her breathing became fast. Genevieve immediately moved toward Eugenie and inquired as to whether the mystic was fruitful. Be that as it may, Eugenie said with a harsh look all over. Your dad's in a difficult situation. He's in the kitchen. Genevieve lacked the opportunity to think, yet rushed home when she opened the entryway. Her dad was not in the kitchen. She was irritated that she had been hasty to the point that she had really trusted Eugenie. However, at that point she saw the horrendous cloth on the table, so Genevieve rushed to the subsequent floor. Sufficiently sure she saw her dad with a nosebleed. Luckily, she returned home in time. A misfortune was deflected. To that end, Genevieve is at last persuaded of Eugenie's power. She likewise truly needs to assist Eugenie with getting away from the refuge. Yet Genevieve isn't adequately strong. She couldn't simply deliver Eugenie, so she went to the dignitary and asked him for help. Yet, before she could talk, she was informed that Eugenie had been compelled to go through treatment for contradicting specialists. It would seem after Genevieve left, Eugenie was only planned for a clinical assessment. However, she figured out that Louise was incapacitated starting from the waist due to entrancing. She didn't limit herself from approaching to reprove the specialist with this little signal. After Eugenie was sedated with ether, she had to go through more fierce treatment. It's called obscure treatment. Sun-powered obscure treatment includes securing patients in a mystery room with a little bay window. She irritated the specialist deep down. The bay window is just open for a couple of moments daily. This is even more excruciating for Eugenie, who can see apparitions in the small chamber. Eugenie was tormented to the mark of breakdown. At the point when she was unable to hang tight, Genevieve at long last tracked down a chance to surprise her. Genevieve says she will take Eugenie out. Genevieve moved toward the senior member, who mentioned that Eugenie be moved back to an ordinary ward, and she got a surprising piece of information. In a couple of days, there will be a function ball at the shelter. Around then, many aristocrats will decide to join in. An arrangement was destined to assist Eugenie with getting away from the yearly festival ball at the insane asylum. The gathering of purported distraught ladies were looking good to the respectabilities enjoying, and introduced to them subsequent to drinking a great deal of wine. The ladies bit by bit become inebriated. The aristocrats started to badger them. A few men even held Louise, who was hemiplegic since they like ladies who do everything they're said. Luckily, a female patient was cautious. After she found Louise gone, she quickly broke into the room with her patients who had a voice and saved Louise. They additionally beat up the Blue Bloods. Eugenie, as far as concerns her, is likewise utilizing the dance to get away from the insane asylum with Genevieve's assistance. Eugenie meets her sibling. Despite the fact that she was energized, she seemed quiet outwardly. Not far away, a consideration specialist was gazing at her. Luckily, Eugenie tracked down an open door. She dodged into the group while the medical caretaker talked. She advanced toward an unfilled room under Genevieve's cover. In the wake of changing into relaxed garments, Eugenie and her sibling followed Genevieve to get away from through the secondary passage. The vehicle they had organized was holding up outside as they were going to leave. The medical attendant at long last seen that Eugenie had vanished. She drove a few guardians to pursue Eugenie. Eventually, Genevieve decided to remain. She wouldn't leave with them, notwithstanding her hesitance. Eugenie enters the carriage and departs at Genevieve's encouraging. Eventually, Genevieve was shipped off the refuge as a psychological patient for allowing Eugenie to get away. Eugenie didn't get back to her loved ones. She went to live alone by the ocean. In the years that followed, she would keep in touch with Genevieve and share with him snapshots of her life. Genevieve, who got the letter, appeared to follow Eugenie to the ocean side. She was in a deep sense free. Indeed, I enjoyed the film all in all. I'm happy that the young lady had the option to escape. That is supportive of everybody until soon.